right. Dun, 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 dun. I want to thank you, Janelle, very much for coming and sharing. I mean, we've shared salsa dancing way back in the day, but I don't know if we've ever cooked together. Yep. And so I am very, very excited to have you come over here and cook some food with us, partially because this meal actually kind of freaks me out because you are making sweet chicken, and in my mentality, chicken should always be savory. So I don't know. I think it's the old argument: grits, sweet or savory, chicken, sweet or savory. I don't know. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you picked this dish.
Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Nelle. That's my pleasure. I am a artist. I'm a sex person. A mom of 3. You'll probably see a couple of them being on site at pizza. But I love life. I love food. I don't know if you can hear me, but so I love food. I love cooking.
Wait a second. Who doesn't love food? That doesn't really narrow it down much.
Well, there are some people out there that kind of frighten you. They don't like food.
They have a love-hate relationship with food.
Yes, some weird thing. It's like, okay, we're gonna have to work on that. But so a funny little, not funny, haha story, but funny story is my kids were younger. What we did is and so what we would do is we would spin it, and each kid would get a turn pointing to it, and whatever they pointed to, whatever country or state or city that was, we had to learn a little bit about the place, cook a meal that was traditional for that place, and then learn some of the language, or if they have movies, I'm watching movies. So that's kind of how I got into cooking different things that I wouldn't normally pick for myself to eat. And so that's how I kind of found the apricot chicken. This dish was kind of, it's not set for just Australians. I don't know any Australians personally, but this was one of the dishes that we just dug up, and they came about it, I don't know, maybe like 1976. So this became like a meal using the whole food mixer. So I figured, why not try it again? I tried it many years ago, and it was really good then. So I figured, why not try it with you guys tonight? It's really simple. It doesn't take a lot of time at all. My big thing when I cook is something that doesn't take more than an hour because, one, my kids are growing fast and they eat everything in sight. You do. And it's like I don't want to be in the kitchen for 20 minutes. Like I really don't have to interview with patients. So,
yeah. I mean, I love cooking, but I don't want it to be work also, right?
Yeah, I want it to be fun. So cooking is kind of fun. You want me to just kind of get into it, get started?
So I need to be honest with you. I've already screwed up on buying my ingredients.
Okay.
I actually went down the ingredients list and looked at it, and I was like, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. Of course, the 2 main ingredients, chicken and apricots, I didn't have. So I went to the store, and I got home, and I realized I had bought dried apricots, and like, it said fresh, and I couldn't find chicken breasts, so I got a whole chicken. So I might be slow behind you because I wanted to show this realistically. I'm gonna have to cut up a chicken, and honestly, I rarely cut up a chicken. I grew up vegetarian, so usually I'll roast the whole chicken and then use that later. So I will try to keep up with you anyway, but I'm already 2 steps screwed up behind.
Well, really like to have spontaneous things happen where you don't have to think that and this is the perfect recipe for that. I am a person who has a lot of hours, so there are some things in this recipe that I had to omit, and I will go through that as we're cooking. But I'll also give you kind of like some tips and tricks to kind of work with. So, like you, I could not find fresh apricots.
Wait, that was your own recipe. It's not the season, huh?
Yeah, it's not summertime.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take apricot and then we're going to take apricot preserve. And I'll show you what to do with that when we get to that. To kind of make up for the fact that we don't have fresh apricot. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, if you do have fresh apricots, I want to kind of go through that step and kind of show you what to do. So we'll start with that. So you'll take your fresh apricots, so this is what I have one, not that big. Make sure they're pitted, and make sure you cut them up. When you do that, you'll take just a fourth a cup of sugar and sprinkle it over the entirety of it and mix it in there really well. And then you'll take some apple cider vinegar. So you'll need about 2 tablespoons of that. And then you'll mix it in and just set it off to the side.
I think because I'm not using fresh, I could still do the same thing because you're just soaking the apricots in a bowl.
Yep, soak them in a bowl.
Rehydrating the dried ones, basically.
We're doing.
So we're
You're not mincing the apricots first.
Yes, you want to make them small. Like if you got dried ones, I just had them cut up like in 4s. So just take a dried one and cut it in 4. Oh, I'm sorry. My sous chef actually did that work. Let me not take credit for something I did. My sous chef did this for me.
Wait a second. This is cooking together. You're not supposed to have someone cook ahead of time and prep stuff. This isn't a professional show.
I just know that.
Are you gonna have it where you're gonna like take it out of the oven and say, look, here it is instantly made?
No, nothing cooked yet. We just
That's what it looks like after it's cooked for 2 hours. Here it is.
So I did the same thing that Orr did, and I saw in my brain, or I thought dried apricots. So I'm guessing I would cut down on the sugar because they're extremely sweet because they're dried.
Yes. And actually, you would have to add a full fourth of the cup. I would go maybe an 8.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're concentrate. So I'm putting.
And
I chopped up the apricots and then.
But obviously not 1.5 pounds of dried apricots, just kind of the equivalent of what.
Yeah, I would say I'm doing. Let's see. This right here is 1 pound of, and I only did half of it. So I'm doing about 1/2 pound of dried apricots.
Yeah, it's probably like 4 to 1 or something from fresh.
All right. So what do we say? Sugar and vinegar.
So we don't need a lot of sugar. I'm not going to add any more sugar to it just because I like mine a little bit more tart. You know,
Oh, okay. I think I put too much vinegar. Oh well. I'm not much of a measurer.
That's okay. You can eyeball it. I just wouldn't put a full fourth of a cup of apple cider vinegar in there because you will.
Then I don't really measure, but then I end up with like way more. It's like. So, yeah, I just chopped up all the.
Is that the sous chef off camera?
All right, but yeah, I really like this.
I couldn't resist that one.
So yeah, see, I bought a whole chicken, so I get to use my new cleaver for the first time. But should I cut up the chicken or the onion first?
No, you cut up the chicken. The onion we're not going to do until after you get the chicken cooked.
All right, let's see if I'm any good at this. So I just need the chicken breast.
Yes, you can use chicken breast. Now, I chose chicken thighs just because I like dark meat. I'm not really a fan of chicken breast. So I cut up chicken thighs. Oh, I am having a darndest time opening this. Oh, there we go. Okay.
All right. This brand new cleaver is sharp.
Is it? I gotta look at the other camera. Let's see. Ooh. Looks good. All right. I'm gonna put my. Do you have a whole chicken? this off to the side, let it marinate.
All right, look at that chicken breast. That came off really. I
Good
read a
job.
book. I read a book about how to do it, so
Good job. Looks like a professional.
I think the secret is to have a really sharp.
I think with anything.
All right, now that I
Yeah.
did one of them, let's see if I can do another one that's good.
That is sharp.
You want to do the chicken? We have to do it backwards. We're going to turn on our. We are going to turn on our.
I wonder what I should do with the rest of the chicken now.
Or you can make stock out of it, or
I mean, I looked at the price and it was like the same price for a whole chicken as it was for 2 chicken breasts per pound. So I was just like, all right, let me just buy the whole chicken. And then probably chop this up, cube it.
yeah. So what I did here is I took the chicken thighs and I just cut it to like 1-inch strips or chunks. Keep it pretty simple. We're gonna cook it in batches. You don't want to cook it all at once, and it might not be too tasty. Okay, I'm gonna
Batches? That sounds like more extra work.
That's not extra work. It just allows you to cook the chicken a little faster.
With one pan.
Okay.
Man, this is sharper than my regular knife.
I think I need one like that. Yep, I think I do. Okay, so if you guys are following along, those who did not buy a whole chicken, I put in 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter and 2 tablespoons of olive oil into my pan, and I'm just gonna let that heat up. We're gonna put our chicken in this, so I'm just gonna cook this in small batches.
I guess I was gonna try to do that, but let me cut this chicken up first so I wash my hands before I start grabbing the butter. And so you said butter and olive oil in the pan and
Yes.
like slow heat it.
Yeah, slow heat. You don't want it to start like this is doing. You don't want it to heat up too fast, because then the butter will burn and then your chicken will taste all weird and gummy. And, it's just not fun to taste.
I thought everybody likes brown stuff.
I like brown stuff and trains.
Brown is different than burned in butter.
Exactly.
All right.
All right, so you guys seeing this? It should be like a nice, something like that. There we go. Nice little bubble. We've gotten all pan.
So
And
let's
I'm gonna
see.
have my chef over here. He's gonna prepare the chicken.
So olive oil and butter in the pan, but nothing else.
Not yet. Just those 2 things. Okay. A small amount. Not with your hands. Yeah.
Oh, I just realized I didn't turn the pan on. Oops. I was like, why isn't it heating up? I'm a little. All right. So do you have gas or electric stove?
So I have gas stove. I like gas.
I try to ask that question because it seems to be like an ongoing argument with a lot of people.
Really?
Yep. Like what is better? All right. So I've got the.
Prefer gas to electric. So that's just, yeah.
We talked about induction as a third choice,
Yeah, I think.
especially if you have electric only, like me.
All right.
Team induction over here. I love my induction, and it works great
Yeah.
with cast iron.
I know, I'm right on the verge of getting one myself.
If you have an Ollie's liquidators place near you, I think it's called like Ollie's Super Cheap Stuff or something. They have induction burners there from time to time for 20, and I know they normally go for 50.
I highly recommend that these apricots get sampled as part of the cooking.
Make sure they haven't gone bad or something.
Yep, just because I just bought them today doesn't mean I shouldn't have a couple. All right. Let's see.
Here. So,
Looks like you already put your chicken in, huh?
yep, I feel like this again,
Now, did you put all of it or just like some?
just some of it. The nice new chef is getting them nice and cooked.
Just brown's better if it's spread out.
Nice and even and cooked.
Oh yeah. So are we trying to completely cook them or just like kind of brown the outside?
So we're gonna cook them all the way through.
I can almost fit all my chicken in my pot, but
Yeah.
all right. So
And
I've got it about medium heat.
Yeah, that medium heat should be pretty good. You don't have it up too high because it'll cook too fast raw in the middle, and you really don't want raw chicken. Not
And-
really.
Yeah, my butter is not even all the way melted yet. It's almost is. There's a little pad of it still there.
I think you need more heat, or
Yeah. So you think I should go all the way hot?
yeah, it should be, well, not all the way, but it should be sizzling like hers is.
Oh, it's sizzling.
Oh, I couldn't see that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but
I don't have that good a view. Sorry about that.
I need a better camera then, huh?
I'm like a backseat cook.
I wonder how, what do you call it? Fred loves his Instapot. I wonder how good this would be in an Instapot.
I think it might be pretty darn tasty.
I've never fried stuff in the Instapot. I'm just,
It's
Well, most of them have a most of them have a saute feature.
and
so you
you
just
can,
saw-
but it's all high heat. You can't turn it down below high heat.
oh, okay. So then,
Yeah, well, saute by definition is high heat, more or less. But you do have to pay attention, yeah.
Yeah, Fred, you're a bit taller than me, so also you don't have the problem of having to like stand on your tiptoes and look down into the instant.
That's true.
so you have to, Jen, do you have to set it on a chair to cook?
I suppose I could put my Instant Pot on the floor and then I wouldn't have the problem, but
No, you're not supposed to do that.
I keep it on counter height and I have to sometimes hop up on a stool or stand on my tiptoes. Not if I'm just stirring like a stew, but if I'm sauteing,
My
we have to watch it.
my house is so small that I put it on what do you call it, on a chair, so I have counter space still to operate.
Yeah, I have a little, it's not on Highland, but a little cabinet on wheels that's a little lower than my counter, and I put it on that.
But if I'm pan frying, I like to take my not immersion heater, my induction heater burner and my cast iron skillet outside, because then like the oily smoke can go wherever it needs to go and I don't have to clean anything later from it.
I've always
Well, you-
wanted to get one of those induction because, you know, it seems like really good for portability, and you know I have the ability to create portable power, so.
Yeah,
I recommend induction heaters for off-grid, because it's pretty energy efficient. And then of course, you know, you're just using your solar energy for it.
the disadvantage of regular electric heat is when you have a burner that's hot, you can't just turn the heat down, but you can do that in induction.
It's not instantaneous control.
That's right, but induction it is.
It's
So
the
let's see.
gas with that, where the burner doesn't stay hot. The burner puts out what you told it to put out.
So let's see. Sounds like we got some background noise. Who's that from?
Whose background is going?
TV on.
It's you, or if you can't hear it, it's you.
All right, so we got our first batch of chicken out of there. We're gonna put the next batch in.
All right. I'm about a minute behind you.
How's everybody else doing out there?
Just like, I still can't believe I cut that off that whole chicken so easy.
Hey, when you have food, it makes your job easier.
So I think,
Time to sharpen your knives, or
I do. Well, that's the whole thing is you're supposed to like, before you cook, you're supposed to like spend a minute sharpening, and I never do. I just go right into it. All right. I think what I'm going to do with the rest of that chicken is salt it down and put it in the oven.
Oh, that sounds good.
Except I got my oven full of herbs drying. See?
Nice.
I don't know. Janelle's done 2 batches, or she's done 2 batches of chicken.
I better get on top of it here. Like,
It's the chicken fat. I tell you, they just cook faster, but they taste so juicy.
I might have made mine too big. See, mine are pretty big chunks. That's probably why.
Yeah, that's kind of big, but I mean, it's still good.
I just mean as far as cooking quick. All right. Way to remind
So
me.
what is
Stay on
the
top of it.
origin of it?
What was the question?
What's the origin? What type of cuisine is it? Where the recipe came from?
Janelle, you said it was from Australia?
Yeah.
So you were studying different countries and you tried food from different countries?
Yeah, so what my kids and I used to do is we had a globe, and so we would spin it, and wherever the child landed on, you have to learn about, that country or that place, and then you would cook a dish from that place and try to learn either if they have like a certain language or try to watch a movie or learn something more about it. Try to expand their palate as far as, eating from different places. And Australia, this was one of the dishes that just kind of came up, which was interesting, but it was really good. So I just kind of kept it in my repertoire of the questions.
All right, got the oven heating up.
Got the oven going.
From last week, I got this Cajun spice. So I think I'm gonna Cajun spice this chicken last week and pop it in the oven. All right.
So where are people from? I'm kind of curious because I can't see your faces. I'm looking at two different. Yeah, where's everybody from?
Seal Beach, California.
Okay. California house.
Kansas.
North Carolina.
All right.
I'm from Edmonton, Canada.
Oh, okay. I'm going to be singing the Canadian National Anthem next month.
Oh, for a sports event or something, or?
Yes, Sporting Kansas City has a game, MLS, soccer. So I'll be singing. I have 2 singers, but I've done both. But because of COVID, they've asked me to sing both of them back to back. So I do the Canadian and then the U.S. So they're always more gracious to guests first. They're traveling. I mean,
Right.
to you.
How long you
So I'm in the middle.
go for it? How long do you think I should put this chicken in the oven? Anybody? I usually do about 30 minutes at 325, but
Yeah, I was gonna say 30 to 40 minutes, but do you have a meat thermometer by chance?
oh yeah, I have a meat thermometer. Yeah.
So, yeah, when you hit that 165, you'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this. I got one of these little egg. You just turn it all the way one way and then you go back. And so
I like that.
egg timer. Well, you know, shaped like an egg. So I didn't think that little bit of oil and that little bit of butter would be enough, but I still have enough for after the second batch.
Yeah, it's fine.
The second batch, I'm browning it a little bit. The first one, I didn't really brown it because Fred said I was behind.
Yeah, it's to cook once you add the apricots.
I just had to taste test one of the chickens. It's kind of a requirement.
I mean, if you don't do that as a chef, you know, there's something wrong. You have to taste your food.
All right.
And I'm sorry, I kind of interrupted with my little national anthem thing because Chanel wanted to know where people were from, and I don't think the rest of the
Oh.
stuff was finished.
That's true.
Lulu.
Let's see. We've got. Yeah, I don't know. Lulu's probably in the middle of cooking.
She's from St. Louis.
I had
We've
to
got.
vent because I couldn't hear anything from you guys. So I'm still browning my second or cooking my second batch. What was the next step?
Well, you're right on schedule. That's what everybody's doing.
I'm browning my second batch too, and I thought I was behind. So we're all
We're all
about
in
the
the same
same.
boat. We're doing this together. I love it.
So I just got given, or just got from a local farmer person, just dropped off 98 eggs. What do you guys think I should do in the morning?
Oh my gosh.
Put them in
I
the
mean-
refrigerator.
Stand out on the road and sell them for a dozen.
No.
I learned that you can actually freeze eggs if you break the yolk.
Oh,
So usually, well, even if you don't, I used to crack them into egg cubes, cartons, and then just freeze it, not even whipped up. But otherwise, you know, you could whip them up, do the same thing. Or what I really like to do is get my cupcake tins and make like mini quiches.
mhm.
Yeah, we did that
Just-
too.
You mix it with anything and you pour it in and you end up with, you know, a quiche the size of a cupcake.
Yeah, those are the best. Oh, no,
I
no.
like the
And then you freeze them, and you can just like basically take it out and warm it up. All right, my chicken's done.
Okay, dang. Did you all of it? All of the breath that you did?
Yeah.
Well, look at you sitting up there and you beat me. I'm still on the last one.
All right, I'm putting the last one back in to brown it a little more. The first
Okay.
one. So I kind of was wimpy on the first one, browning it because I thought I was behind.
And now you're over here speed racing.
But oh, I have to taste another piece. Oops.
Oh, yes. Come on, Jeff. I'm going to interest this you guys.
I mean, if I taste it all, there'll be none left for anybody else. Oh, wait.
Anyways, I'm gonna grab you one of these pieces.
Oh, I guess I could cut up my onions while I'm waiting.
You can, if you have your onions, go ahead and cut it, because that's the next thing we're going to be doing. We'll put it right in the same pan that we had our chicken cooking in. Well, you want to finish this then?
So you said just as I'm cutting up this onion, I could just put it right now in the chicken?
No, don't you're gonna take the chicken out, and you're gonna keep the oil that's in there and use the onions.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, I mean, that was so little oil and butter. I cooked so much. I guess I usually do such a big batch. I'm afraid of it sticking, so I put a lot more oil than that.
It doesn't usually take that much, and when you use a combination of olive oil and butter, like I have found, it just absorbs the flavor more and it goes out. I don't know if that makes sense, but.
I've gotten addicted to not using butter, but for using ghee.
Ooh, ghee is something I haven't worked with yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, part of it is I grew up off the grid, so we didn't have refrigeration. And ghee, you boiled off the milk. You boiled off the, what do you call it? I guess the milk, and all you have is the fat.
You separate the milk solids.
Right, so all you have is the fat left, and the fat, just like oil, has a harder time going bad. So you can just leave it on the counter. So,
like having bacon grease on the back of the stove.
I had an awesome friend just drop me off this little bottle of clarified butter. So that's what that is. It's ghee. See, and it's just like,
yeah.
And part of it also is it's basically like butter concentrate. So it's really rich and flavorful. So you don't need very much of it too. I guess, I mean, I could take the chicken out because I've got this onion cut up and put the onion in. Part of it is I've been using this slotted spoon to scoop the chicken out, so I leave a lot more of the fat in the pot. So it's a good. All right. All right. I now have my onions in the pot. I think I could turn the onions up now to fry them hotter temperature.
Brown your onions.
So, but man, Lulu, you can cut some onions. Look at that. You're like cutting them really fine.
Okay, you must teach me your skills.
She's been watching Julia Child.
I love onions. I've never had a dish with too much onions in it. So we're going ahead and browning this now?
Yes, you're gonna brown it.
Take the chicken out and use the same oil.
With the onions?
Say that one more time.
Don't mix the onions with the chicken. It's
Don't mix the onions with the chicken at all. Pull the chicken out.
Nothing else yet.
Okay.
Nothing else.
And
You're gonna brown the onions, not burn them, just brown them. Get them nice and brown.
Is it all right if I put some garlic too?
You can add garlic if you want to. We can be fancy up in here.
Well, I just got like a whole bunch from my local farmer. And actually, I've got a couple of them sprouting here, so I probably should use that one.
I say go for it. You can never go wrong.
But I mean, we're trying to make kind of a sweet something, so there is some things that could probably go wrong with this. This sounds like a blend.
Again, it's
That's a good, and will be enough, probably.
I'm just putting 2 cloves of garlic in. But have you guys ever had garlic jam? Oh my goodness.
I had garlic ice cream.
Tell me more about garlic jam because I've got a lot of garlic and you know I make jam.
So I mean, it's literally like you roast the garlic and then you mix it, and it's
Something happened to the town, like a thunderstorm.
so that I mean, for me, what it tastes like is yeah, I mean, it's roasted garlic jam. And so I've never made it, but I've had it a couple times.
Yeah, I've had like jalapeno jam and stuff like that.
So I mean, I've had like the roasted garlic jelly where they just kind of put the flavor in and it looks like a jelly. But the one I really liked was just like roasted, like if you've ever had fig jam, it was like the same consistency of a fig jam, really thick and really jammy. But of course it tasted, it was mostly garlic, and I think it might have had like a little like nutmeg or cinnamon, just a little bit. But I don't.
Wow. Huh. Now I do like roasted garlic that I just turn into a paste, and it makes a delicious spread.
Like, what is it? Garam masala? So that it would be similar, like garam masala. Let's see, it's got cardamom, cinnamon, cloves, cumin, black pepper, and coriander. So that's like a savory sweet dish usually. So kind of similar.
Is that the are roasted before they're ground, and that's what makes it different. Like you could make that yourself with just the ground spices, but it's better when they've been roasted before the grinding, and that's what they do with garam masala.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody got their onions in?
Yeah, my onions are in. They're about halfway.
Halfway around?
But all right.
So that's going on. Remember our lovely apricots that we had off to the side that we put our apple cider vinegar in?
Yep.
Did not use fresh apricots. We used the dried ones. What we're going to do is add.
Janelle, would you mind switching microphones maybe? Because you're now, it sounds like you're on the bottom of the well, at least for me. Maybe it's just my sound.
Is this better? I need to move this closer. Can you hear me?
No,
Can you hear me? Is that better?
Yeah, that's perfect. At least for me. I don't know. Could have been just my internet.
Okay, so what you're gonna do is those dried apricots that you had with the apple cider vinegar, you're gonna take your 2 cups of chicken stock and you're gonna add it to the apricot. And then what we're gonna do is puree it. So this is about to get really loud for just a few seconds. Okay?
Puree it. All right. Now we're getting fancy here.
Oh yeah. Gotta get fancy. Oh boy, can you make sure everything is good.
I thought we were just gonna have chunks of apricots in it.
You can take some out. Now the recipe does say do that, but I don't want chunks of apricot because I think texturally for me that might be bad. So I just puree all of it. But you don't have to. All right, we're gonna have some noise here and get people.
You had, I muted you for a second, so you'll have to unmute one of the cameras. Because we were starting to get an echo. Did you hear me, Janelle?
Her sound's actually been really bad for me the whole time.
Yeah. Janelle, do you think you could do the camera at this, I mean, the sound at the stove? Turn that one on? All right, I'm gonna mute mine before I blend.
Okay, how's that? Can you guys hear me now? Ooh.
Well, now we're all muted.
I need instructions.
Is this better, guys? As far as
Oh,
hearing
that's
me?
phenomenally better.
So what did you do?
So right now she got the apricots.
Okay, yes. So I have the apricots, I've blended them. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add the apricot preserves that I got. I'm gonna put about, I don't know.
So let's see, you blended it with the chicken stock.
And then I'm gonna put maybe like a half a cup of the preserves and put it in here and then blend it as well. And I'm gonna eyeball it. Usually I would do other things, but I'm gonna eyeball it.
I don't remember that. Turn my mic off. That's apricot jam.
Yeah, apricot preserves. I'm gonna mute myself again, so that way you guys won't hear the blurring.
So she just used the apricot jam because she didn't have fresh apricots. I just have, seems like everybody only has dried apricots, but she's thrown in a little apricot jam to like pep it up. So
that's not recommended for the dried apricots then, right?
it is recommended, it's just not required.
And then, so the onions are just browned a little bit.
Yeah, the onions are browning, and then I'm going to blend my apricots with some broth. But I'm going to mute myself while I blend it so I don't create a really loud sound, but it'll just take 30 seconds.
Okay, there we go. Can you guys hear me?
And I
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so how are your onions doing? Right now, they should look like this, where they're just a little bit brown. And you can smell everything coming out.
just starting to caramelize.
Awesome.
And I saved some of my apricots chunky. Actually, I think I'm going to cut them up a little smaller.
That is what you can do. So what you want to do is after you puree, you want to set aside maybe like a cup of it off to the side. We won't cook with that. But the rest of it, you'll want to add in with the onions and then turn your heat down low.
All right.
Heat down low. It's ready for you.
Half of it's going in the the onions.
Yeah. So you're gonna. So yeah, you'll just put it to the side just a cup. And then we're gonna cook this down for about 20 minutes, 10, 20 minutes.
So do I have to keep stirring? Okay.
Just put it down.
So you just added your blended apricots into the onions, right?
Say that one more time.
You just put your blended apricots into the onions?
Yep. And then you're just gonna let that cook down until it becomes thick. So about 10, 20 minutes. And just reduce your heat. You don't want it too hot.
All right.
No, because then it'll have the echo.
Well, what are we gonna do for 20 minutes now?
So I figured we'd do a little dancing. Anybody down for that?
Dance party.
You know me. I mean, that's pretty much what I do or try to do.
So what do you serve this with?
So what you can serve this with is rice. So I did make some turmeric rice earlier.
All right, that's a good idea. I'll make some turmeric rice. I make that a lot.
Well, there you go. If you want to make it with rice, you can. I also made ungali fufu.
What?
Fufu. Some people like to eat it with that. Yeah.
Ooh.
So I made some of that. But that, was for another dish, but we can eat it with this one too. It's great. It's lovely.
So explain to me how you would make turmeric rice, and I'll follow if you want to do it like spur of the moment.
Yeah. So what I did is I took a couple of cups of organic brown rice, and I added a little bit of salt to my water, got everything boiled, and I boiled it down for about 5 minutes before I added the turmeric. And then I added about 2 tablespoons of turmeric and just mixed it together and then let it cook down. And then I put a lid over it and just let it steam for the rest of the time.
Okay, I'm on camera now.
There's my oldest son. This is Ian, everyone. My sous chef, one of them. And then I have
the camera over there.
The youngest,
Other one who's actually trying.
who's supposed to be the cameraman, but I don't know what he's doing right now.
There we go.
No one knows what he's doing.
All right. So how I usually do the rice is I actually chop up some garlic and make a flavored oil on the bottom of the pot.
Oh, nice.
Because I read somewhere that turmeric only breaks loose of its healing properties if it's with oil.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got this nice turmeric from the local farmers.
Nice.
And so, yeah, for me, I eat turmeric pretty regularly for my chronic pain.
Hey, that makes 2 of us, twinsies.
Yeah, so for me, it makes it so I can function.
Yeah.
Turmeric and ginger I eat that pretty much every day as a pain relief. Yep.
I do the same thing, dear. It's the best.
All right, so I am mincing this turmeric and ginger, and then I'm gonna put it in the rice.
I've never seen fresh turmeric. What does it look like there?
Okay, can you see my camera here? So that's what it looks like.
Oh, that's the ginger, isn't it?
No, let me grab a fresh. So this is ginger. Let me grab a fresh ginger so you can look at the compare.
Just different color on the inside.
So that's a ginger, and that's a turmeric.
Oh.
But yeah, so if I cut the turmeric open, inside the turmeric, look at that color
Yes,
That's
yeah.
beautiful.
versus the, the ginger is,
Okay.
I mean, it's almost more orange than a carrot.
Well, I was hearing how wonderful turmeric was for when you have any inflation. So I bought like a kilo of it in the Indian store. Powder.
Well, that's
So
the
I
nice
gotta
thing
start,
is,
I gotta start learning how to use it.
so the nice thing about it is if you put it like in a high spot, so I've got it in a paper bag, like right above my stove, and it'll dry slowly, but I'll chop it as fresh in, but like in 2 months, it'll start drying up. And then I've got a miniature, like
Grinder?
coffee grinder. It's about this big, and I'll put it in there and grind it. And so this right here is from last year that I just ground up. This is a quart of half turmeric and half ginger from last year.
You're ready to cook.
You can kind of see on the bottom, that's more the ginger. It's more chunky. I didn't mix it really well, but I spent, I don't know, about an hour and a half grinding up all the, and I still haven't ground, if you can see, this was in my oven just with the pilot on. This is all my peppers from last year that I haven't ground up yet.
Ooh.
Now that we're starting to have fresh ones, I'm going to grind all this up into spice blends.
What are those round things? They look like kiwi fruit or
These are
eggs.
lemons.
Oh, I see.
So I'll literally break that up and grind that also.
Like lemony power.
A sour.
So I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's starting to get kind of thick. That's kind of what you're wanting. You're wanting to get like syrupy.
I just put the lid on mine, so I haven't really looked at it. Oh yeah, it's thickening.
Yeah.
I probably should have done it with the lid off and let some of the water go away, huh?
Yep.
But all right.
So that's the consistency you're wanting, but it's going to get a lot thicker than that, and we'll go ahead and add the rest of the spices to it. Now, I will say this actually has, this recipe actually has like a Tabasco sauce and black pepper, and those are two things that I'm allergic to, amongst many other things. So I omitted those from the recipe for me, but if you want to put them in, you can. It's not a problem. It's probably still going to be just as tasty. And if you are a vegetarian, because I have a vegetarian in my home, if you don't want to use the chicken, I would suggest using a Japanese sweet potato. It's sweet, but it's still got a bit of a savory taste to it, and it's pretty good.
It's not a chicken.
This vegetarian here thanks you very much for that modification.
You're welcome, dear.
Yeah, I like sweet potatoes. Or more like, what is it? African sweet potatoes, more like the yams. They got a lot of more.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
What do you call it? They don't break down as much, so it has more of a texture.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm overdoing it on this ginger and turmeric, but this is gonna be.
I have so many apricots left over. I keep eating them.
Yeah, I only used I bought a pound of them, but then I thought it's just way too much dried up. So
yeah.
Yep.
Start tasting them.
The ones that were soaked, did you try the ones soaked in the vinegar?
I did.
Yeah, I mean that tastes like almost like, what is it? Balsamic vinegar reduction sauce. Have you ever bought that?
Yep.
That's really expensive.
Yeah, it is. I have.
That's what it tastes like. I need to add some oil to that. All right.
Maybe a shot of rum into those apricots.
You know, I like where you're going with that one. I like a shot of rum. That would be great. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna put that on the list.
And then maybe have one on the side for the cook.
Yes.
So you said you
Definitely.
made fufu.
Yep.
You want to give us a little tidbit about how you do that? I've
So,
ate fufu, but I don't think I've ever made it.
so there are different ways to make it. Some people use cassava flour. Some people use cassava and plantains together. I use cornmeal. Just because I like that texture a little bit better. I make it with cassava and it's still pretty good. But you pretty much take it and grind it up. And you'll take it and you'll grind the cut up the cassava and cut up the plantain and kind of pound it together. And then you'll cook it for a certain amount of time. I have to gauge
Sounds
it.
to me like cornmeal mush and mashed potatoes put together.
Kinda, yeah. And then it gets kind of like hard. So this is still in the process of getting to where it needs to be, but then it's like hard to where you can use it almost like a spoon once it's set. This hasn't been set all the way yet because I just made it today.
Because I mean, polenta, if you let it set, polenta, just the
Polenta
cornmeal.
does kind of get like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you let that set and then you can cut pieces
Yeah.
of it.
Do you use it like as a thickener?
You can use it as a thickener, but I don't. I just use it as kind of like my bread, since I can't have gluten.
Well, that's why I'm listening to you, because
Yeah, because Or can't have gluten either.
yeah, so I use that in place of that. So that's kind of like my bread. And once it sets, you can kind of form it into balls and things like that. And so it works really well.
I mean, when I ate it was African meal, and they used the fufu instead,
Yeah, it's the
like
spoon.
you know, so you don't get food all over. Or if it's
Yeah.
hot food, you could use
Yeah,
the
you can just
fufu to
scoop it up. Yep.
scoop the food so your fingers
Yep,
aren't
your
burning.
fingers. Yep.
It's like the Ethiopians using injera.
Yep.
Which I really like. Oh my God, that's my
I don't
favorite.
really like injera. I love Ethiopian food, but injera,
Oh,
not too
He's
much.
I like
That's
it.
what it is
It's
too.
kind of sour. I like that sour taste.
I like the sour. I just the texture is kind of, but
Takes a little bit.
I don't know. Your taste buds change every 7 years, so you know.
It may come back to that.
That was my chicken.
The chicken is done.
Let's see if it is done. That's probably helpful if I.
Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how it's looking right now. So we're
Where's
getting,
the chicken? Did I miss a step?
what happened?
Where was your chicken?
So my
We haven't
chicken
put it
actually-
in there. Oh, I put
It's
chicken in
still
the
in a bowl.
oven. My extra chicken I put in the oven because I bought a whole chicken. So sorry for the distraction. All right, that needs another 15 minutes. Yeah, that's a big chicken.
It's a big chicken. All right. This is starting to get to a consistency that I like, but we're gonna keep it going.
So you trying to get it to, like, I don't know, almost like a jam consistency?
Almost like a jam. See how it's like the chunks of it are starting to kind of gel a little bit? That's kind of what you're wanting.
Well, me, I actually didn't puree out all of it. I also saved some chunks because I thought maybe I wanted to have a little bit of, yeah.
That's good though. Okay, so we're gonna put, while this is still going and simmering, we're gonna put in our cinnamon and our rosemary.
Oh, I forgot to put that. Oh, cinnamon. and rosemary.
Yeah, so if you have your cinnamon and your rosemary, we're gonna go ahead and put that in. You need
We're
about,
gonna actually measure rosemary because you can overdo that really
you
easily.
can, yeah, you could definitely over.
So what are we putting? A half teaspoon or a teaspoon?
So of the rosemary, we're doing, hold on, I have to look at my notes.
I think it was there was one
Okay,
that was a half.
we're using 1 tablespoon of the fresh rosemary. And if you have dried rosemary, I'd say maybe cut that in half. And then of our cinnamon.
Did you know that there's people who are allergic to cinnamon?
I did not know that.
Wait, what?
Yep.
That's
I know
insane.
I have at least 2 friends who are allergic to cinnamon.
Wow. That's
That's-
someone else.
I grabbed the thing and it's empty.
Oh no.
It's my little jar in my fan. So the jar cap thing up here, everybody's like, "Oh, you got this really fancy jar thing." Well, apparently one of them's empty.
Well,
I've got a whole pound of it over here. All right, cinnamon.
yep, cinnamon
That's
and
just
your
a
rosemary.
teaspoon.
Yep, just a teaspoon. Now, if at this point, this is where you would add the black pepper
However.
and add the black pepper and the Tabasco sauce. But like I said, I'm allergic to both of those, so we're not adding it. But my son did make his own special hot sauce, so he'll add that to his dish, you know, later.
Made his own hot sauce. Awesome.
Yeah, my kids are pretty creative.
Question, how much
What's
cinnamon?
dynamite?
Just a teaspoon.
Kill the shit. It won't kill you. It'll only make you wish you were dead.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see the consistency of this now, but this is where you want it.
It's like a very heavy soup.
So
Like can you see it?
Like,
yeah,
it's not quite a stew, but it's soup.
Yeah.
yeah.
So once it gets to this point, we're gonna let this sit here, turn our heat down a little lower, and let it sit for maybe like 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll add our chicken back in. So once it gets to this consistency, this is where you guys kind of want it.
So while we're waiting for that to cook down, I thought I would tell you guys who don't eat gluten, if you happen to like beer, but you don't have it because of gluten, there is a brewery called Neff, N-E-F-F as in Frank, out of Tulsa. And they say brewed for everyone because they just happen to be gluten-free. Everything they make is gluten-free. And they're starting to distribute now in Kansas City. And I don't think they're up in the Chicago area. But anyway, you could ask, you know, maybe your liquor store can order it in for you. But it's Neff Brewing Company out of Tulsa. And they are gluten-free. And it's really, looks like it's been good.
That is freaking awesome. Okay, any good chef would take, you know, a sample of her work. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. This is so yummy. It's gonna be so delicious, guys.
So yeah, it's interesting because this, if you didn't have the apricots, this would almost be like chicken garam masala
Yeah, kind of.
with all the different spices. If you,
That you would put in it.
I don't know. So it's like sweet and savory.
Exactly.
All right, my rice is starting to boil.
Oh, it's in this way. You can hold it. That's why I wanted you to hold the camera.
All right.
All right. So is everybody to this point where it looks like this?
Well, I put my chicken in. I guess I got a step ahead of you.
All right. Let me just catch up. Add my chicken.
You got,
There we go.
you got something beeping.
Yep, that is my timer to say, hey, add the chicken. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Oh my God, that is good.
Isn't it? It is delicioso. And
And I didn't blend all the apricots, so I've got a few of them as chunks.
that's perfectly fine, sure.
I tend to like things chunky, so I've, like my onions are kind of a little bit big.
Thicker.
I think I did everything a little bit bigger than yours.
Yeah, I like mine's a little small. You know, like I said, texture for me is a thing. So, all right.
You
So
said you serve it with turmeric rice,
mhm.
See, it's just
I
not.
just hold it, honey.
parsley
So
garnish.
do you put over the rice or just on the side?
So I'm getting ready to show that part next. We've got this camera. I don't know if you guys can see me. Oh, he's gonna give a close up of it. Not
Okay,
too-
let me switch cameras then.
Okay,
Put it.
don't do that. Okay. Okay, so this is a close up of it, and now I'm going to get.
I'll go back. I didn't spotlight
You didn't
it
see?
in time.
Okay, hold on. There you go.
Ooh,
Yum.
I don't think that's enough for you and both your boys, though.
You're correct.
Just like,
I have other things, so you know we're prepared in that way. Can you be the cameraman? All right. So you guys remember the reserved part that you guys put off to the side that I asked you to?
Yeah.
What you're gonna do with that is, we're gonna get some rice here. I know.
oh yeah.
You're gonna get some rice. Doesn't need to be a whole lot.
My rice is almost done. Now.
Done. All right. So we're gonna put our rice in the middle, and you're just gonna take a little bit of the reserve and just pour some over it. Doesn't need a whole lot, just just a little. And then you are going to add our lovely apricot chicken.
I wonder if people do that.
On top. Oh, just trying to make it look fancy, and it didn't go that way, but that's all right. Voila.
We can still
Just put a
turn it.
tiny
Josh,
chicken
give
on
me a
top.
pick. Give me one of the picks.
All right, boys and girls.
Wait,
ladies
Mom.
and gents.
For the last thing.
There you go. Fancy.
Fancy.
Apparently, my boys think now this is fancy. So yeah, that,
It's a joke. Oh,
I forgot. What did you use the broth for? The leftover broth.
so the broth. I have to be my own cameraman now.
Hang on, let me be
So
the
the
cameraman.
broth is where you at? Okay, is the rest of the apricots. I poured it over the rice before I put the chicken and
Oh, okay.
apricots on it.
Got
So
it.
this gives the rice, a little bit of yumminess, a little bit more yumminess. But yeah, so that is apricot chicken.
All right, let me get back to mine.
Turn it
And
upside down. What was the point?
Say that one more time.
oh, so here's mine.
Let me see.
Let's see. So my rice is still bubbling a little bit. Let's see if it's ready.
Okay.
And mine has like a ton of. I put a little wild rice in there too.
Oh, nice.
I put like tons of turmeric because I just got, I don't know, about 3 kilos or of rice.
Mm-hmm.
And then so oh wait, you said you
Gotta
poured
put. Yep, you got to put the apricot, the reserve, on there.
just a little bit of that.
Yep, just to soak into the rice.
That's actually really good.
I know. My son
like,
said
I
that's
know.
actually really good. I know it's
wasn't
good.
sure about
I
the
made it.
apricots.
I know.
All right.
Or it
So-
looked like your apricots were a different color. What,
Mhm.
are they really dark colored?
Mine are.
Yeah, so here's my apricots.
They're
Mine are-
black, dark brown.
Mine are organic. So I guess I don't know, they're pretty,
They're dried.
Mhm. They're dry.
Ah, okay.
but I mean, they're not, see, I can pull it apart.
They
Ah,
put
think
stuff
it's-
in there they put some kind of chemical in there to make them keep their
They-
color, if you want.
Mhm.
yeah.
So I think, yeah, mine aren't like a beautiful,
Yeah.
It's pretty good if you add it
there's,
together.
there's no chemicals on it. So,
I see. Okay.
all right. Oops.
Oh,
I
you
broke that
tried.
apricot in half, so I had to eat it. So,
Oh darn.
I'm sure it must be breaking you up inside.
oh, this is phenomenal tasting. It's like,
Yay.
does
I'm glad
anybody
you liked
have
it.
any final questions before we wrap up? I'm gonna make this again.
Just want to say
What-
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. This was so much fun.
Hi, Janelle.
I wonder
Hey.
how do you think it tastes different with fresh versus dried apricots?
I think with fresh apricots, it's not as sweet. So it's a little bit more savory when it's not as opposed to the dried. For me, I mean, other people might have a different take on it, but when I've tried it with fresh, it's definitely not as sweet, but it's still good.
All right. Let me hit the
Try it with the hot sauce.
I can't.
all right. Any final questions before we wrap up the recording and sit down and eat together? Lulu, did you wanted to show yours off? Or?
Yeah, I wanted to see everybody's plates. If you guys can show, like, is there a way to make it like we can see each person's individually?
Just like, but Lulu's always managed to make hers look good. I think for the first time I made mine look good.
Okay.
Yummy food.
And I missed the part about the reserve.
That's all right, dear. That's all right.
There's the rice.
Yeah.
I invited my family over to come at 7. I always have so much.
Nice.
Well, we're gonna sit down and eat together now. Yep. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab some more plates here.
Mom, I think your plate is gone.
Yeah, I know. My plate's gone. They ate it all.
So again, Ja Nelle, thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
We're getting ready to wrap up, and then everybody stick around. We're gonna sit down and eat together, of course, and socialize. Do you have a preferred drink that you think should go with this, or any like side stuff?
So I usually have. My son said beer. No beer.
Potatoes and beer.
Root beer is what they're talking about.
No, I'm
I could say either one.
No, I usually do like an aloe vera water. And if I want like a hot drink, I usually, one of my favorite teas that I've just now gotten into is toasted coconut with almond bark.
What?
Oh my gosh.
That doesn't sound like a tea. That sounds like heaven.
It is.
It's just like
It is.
that.
Heaven. Okay, so if I want a hot drink, that's what I'll go for.
All right.
Whenever I enjoy this meal. But I'm so glad I got to cook with you all. This was so much fun.
All
I
right.
got to do it again.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.